He made a way for somebody like me. And I tell you, it is not peace. When somebody close to you, tell them what you need is in the house. Yeah. You might want to find somebody else to tell them what you need is in the house. Real quick, I know it's Super Bowl Sunday and I was tripping. I've been in the blender for the last month, so I know I was telling Zeno, I don't know, we missed out on Super Bowl. It's for that Super Bowl party whole 9 yards. But I'm going to say this to help somebody. The Seattle Seahawks 2013, they played against New Orleans Saints. I'm not a football enthusiast, so don't judge me too hard. They played against New Orleans Saints. Watch this game. They begin to judge Seattle Seahawks. They call Seattle Seahawks fans the number 12 team member. Okay, Seattle Seahawks fans are considered the number 12, and those of you that don't understand football, you only allow 12 people on the field at a time for your team. But they say the fans are number 12 on the field. Pastor Bird, the reason why the fans are number 12 for the Seahawks, they said because the Seattle Seahawks fans, watch the Deacon Bird, they cheer so loudly that they cheer interferes with the offensive team. Meaning, watch this unit, they're so loud that they affect what go on the field because they cheer so loud. So then they begin to race Seattle Seahawks fans actually came up with their own penalty because the fans are so loud that it interrupts what's going on the field. Why you think I'm still talking about Seattle Seahawks? I just need a handful of fans, Jesus fans, that would just make enough noise to interrupt what the enemy is going on the field. There you go, there you go. I dare you to interrupt what the enemy is trying to do. You know what the devil saying? Put them through. They got enough money to still throw away in God. After all the drama and nonsense and attack, and he still won't come to church. She still won't lift my head. They still won't worship me. Come on, I dare you to confuse the enemy with your praise. Oh, this morning, come on, get alive this morning. Not to just say in that church, but I'm laughing at Jesus. I worship because he's faithful. I dare you to make the enemy got to be crazy. Everything they go around me, things they go around me. But everything God still doing my life. That's the reason why I give them praise. Come on, make some noise one more time. Come on, they put their hands together for Jesus all over this place. Come on, you put them hands together on this morning. Thank God for being in the house. Come on, make some noise, and then make some noise for Victoria voices. God, when they give, so when they give, you take your seats in the house of the Lord. I give my arms to end my life to the chief cornerstone of the church. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. We thank God for Jesus, but it was him. Movement have our being. We stand 10 toes deep on that. His son died, rose with all power and authority in his hand. And because of that, we're able to stand in that same victory and that same authority on this morning. Of course, I thank God for my queen that stands beside my side, none other than Lady M. Come on, make some noise for her. I also ask the church and the family to keep praying for them. She lost her aunt. We was in Louisiana yesterday, burying her. And then we back here worshiping on this morning. With that being said, Lady lives there as well. and as well, missionary care with my mom, Evangelist Care. They're still down there. They're some sisters, so pray for them. It's 19 siblings, so everybody and their mama was there yesterday. Niece and nephew, cousin, people that you're going to recognize, everybody's family. But I say keep them in your prayers because they started with 19, and I think it's 10 kids left. So we definitely keep them lifted up. They encouraged, and we're still here on this morning. And just pumped up about what God's going to do. Somebody say, God's still good. God's still good. God's still good. Even in death, God is still good. Just for the record, I know this ain't a funeral home, but you do know death is transportation to the new life, right? That's it. For every believer, death is just transportation to the new life. Yeah, that's the reason why the scripture said we don't cry as those that don't have hope. But we have joy because we understand they're just sleeping. Once you know it, once you come into the knowledge of Christ, you look at death a little bit different. But thank God for her. Thank God for those people that's here. My team, Core, come on, make some noise for them. Come on, y'all can do better than make some noise for them. We couldn't do what we do without those people. Deacon Zeno, we thank God for him. Lady Zeno, thank God for Deacon Bird. We thank God for Pastor Bird on this morning. Come on, make some noise for them. That's in the building. Pastor Lister, Lady Lister. They're in Holly Grove, so be praying for them this morning. You do know they do by Sunday, so every other Sunday, but they here with us every other Sunday as well. They're a part of the team. Of course, Ministry Training Ashley, we thank God for her. Everything you see with media, sound, stuff that's going on, lights on and off, that's all her and putting together a team. So if you have any passion or something with media, definitely make sure you reach out to her as we build. But I just thank God for them because, listen, if you're a leader and you look behind you and nobody's following you, you're not a leader, you're just walking. But when you can look behind you and have people that support, people that's connected to you, people that's been a part, I want to say thank you. And also, I told Bishop I saw direct results coming from Full Gospel Conference when we had our little meeting the last weekend. Y'all came back and got right on it. Y'all was on time. Y'all pulled up, put everything to work. And I want to say I love you. I appreciate you for doing it. One more time, make some noise for my team, the core team, the people that make it happen. I want to say I thank God for you and everybody here. Of course, you're a guest on this morning. Just want to say I appreciate you. Thank you for coming up. Woman of God, thank you for keeping your word. You told us you're going to pull up, pull up. I would be old school, tell you, stand up and introduce yourself. But I know they said, Pastor Bird said, people don't like this, so we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. But I just want to say we appreciate you coming out this morning. Thank you for being part of the team. Once again, Eunice, she's from Louisiana, too. I said, we're going to have Louisiana in the building. Louisiana in the building. Something about that hot sauce pulling us in, Bird. We thank God all of us coming together. But I don't take it lightly. Somebody say, get to it. The game coming. The game coming. Don't be all day. We got to get to the game. So definitely. I understand this our challenge, son, to test out. Don't be so focused on the stats of the game that you're losing in the game of life. I love the game too, but make sure that you're winning at home and winning in your finance, winning in your marriage, and winning with your family as well. Somebody say the game is all right, but make sure you're winning at the game of life as well. Make sure you win at the game of life. Won't be before you long. I'm going to continue. Those of you that have not picked up on, I've been talking about that bread for the last 2 weeks. Somebody say, you've been talking about that bread. You've been talking about that bread. Last 2 weeks, I started off with this series before we had the winter storm. I talked about broken blessings. Then I went from broken blessings to I started talking about the leftovers that was left over. So here it is, we're getting into it today, Mark chapter 6, verse 50. I'm going to try to catch you up, show you where we're at. But I saw something, Bird, that changed my mind. And if you would, please stand. We'll get back to our customs on this morning. Bird, it's been a minute, so I'm knocking the dust off of me with that. But we stand for the word of God. I say all the time, if you could stand for the judge, you know, when you're in that courthouse and they make you stand when all rise. So if you can stand for him, surely you can stand for the word. But most of all, it's something I learned, Zeno, if you want to stand in here, make sure you stand up for the word out there as well. But come from Mark chapter 6, I saw something that I've been overlooking for years, so pray for me on this. Mark chapter 6, verse 50 is where I want to start at. 3 verses in here. For they all saw him. Who is that? The disciples. All 12 of them saw Jesus, and they was troubled. They was troubled, and immediately he talked with them and said unto them, be of good cheer. It is I, be not afraid. Meaning they saw him, but they didn't see him because they didn't recognize him. Meaning they looking, but they didn't recognize what they saw. You know, watch this in verse 51. It said, and they went up unto the ship, and the wind ceased, and they were sorely amazed, and themselves beyond measure, and they wondered. Verse 52 is where I want to get. For they consider not the miracle of the loaves. They didn't consider what he just did. I just took 5 loaves, 2 fish, and I just created a miracle. Here it is. You're panicking already. You just seen me work a miracle. I just brought you out. You just came out the pandemic. You know other people that died in the pandemic. You survived. You just came from a bankruptcy. You just came from a broken home. You just came and your finance been shattered, and I still brought you in 2026. And here it is in February. You tripping again. Yeah. He said, you messed up again. Have you not considered the loaves? For their heart was hardened when he said this. Take your seats for a little while. For a little while, let me work just a little bit. I want to talk about don't let the storm steal your story. Don't allow the storms of life to steal your story. Here it is, Minister Charles. If you have any social media platform, make sure you tell somebody you're at Impact Church. This word got you feeling some type of way. And if you don't feel like taking a selfie, you can always take a picture of myself or Minister Charles. I'm one on the keys because we stay what? Photo ready. Photo ready. Here it is. So look at your neighbor and say, don't let the storm steal your story. Y'all pray for me because I told y'all I've been in the blend. I texted the core team last week and I told them just pray for me because every now and then you need prayer. I know sometimes, watch this, Jamie, they get confused because I'm standing up here holding the mic. And sometimes people think because you the preacher or you the praise and worship leader or you a minister, Pastor Bird, they think you invincible. Like you don't have problems or you don't get upset or you don't have issues. The devil is a liar. I'm human just like everybody else because sometimes I feel like when people say, they say, it seems like, watch this, Deacon Bird is 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yeah. Sometimes in life it seems like if it ain't one thing, actually, y'all must heard that before, because sometimes it seems like trouble just continue to follow you no matter what you go through. I had Deacon Zeno eyes big in the back. He asked me a question. I don't think he was ready for it. He said, man, just how you feeling, Pastor? I said, really? Do you really want to go there? You want to talk about the steroid shots that I got to get in my back, or the lidocaine patches, or the crunches, or us giving in about 1 in the morning? I only had 4 hours of sleep, but I'm still here. My wife still singing, even though she's grieving about her auntie. Are you talking about that part of ministry? Or do you want me to give you a preacher thing to just say, just pray for me? Do you want to, talking about the drama with us transition with the building, even though I got a lease that says up in 7 months, and then you tell me I got to get out in less than 7 months, and you pushing me towards something? Are you talking about the doctor follow-up appointment that I got to do later on this month because they said they found something in my body? What are we talking about? Zeno eyes got big, and I said, but at the same time, I got that Jesus joy, because they think because you're in ministry, sometimes people think you're an exception to the rule. Sometimes it'll fool you because some people think you're exempt because you get those text messages on Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Saturday. You think I'm texting because I'm in a great place. You understand? Sometimes I ain't in a great place. Sometimes I'm in a bad headspace, but I still push and do what God called me to do. Or you just assume I'm here because I want to be here. No, that bed was calling me this morning on the 4 hours of sleep. I think Lady M said she was up long before I got up. She was already putting makeup on and everything. Deacon Bird, I looked out the corner of the eyes out of that bed. I don't know. I thought about texting Pastor Bird, text somebody. Y'all got that this morning. Just because I'm the pastor don't mean I don't have pressure and I don't go through stuff. It's a challenge sometimes just to get done what God called you to do. But I didn't come to put no burden on you this morning, because every good leader, they don't complain down, they complain up. But here it is. I want to help you this morning to tell you I got challenging too, but I found refuge in what David says. He says in Psalm 46, God is a refuge and a strength and a very present help in a time of trouble. Can I be messy and tell you, the more trouble you get in, the more God show up? I want to help somebody on this morning and just ask you one question. Watch this now. Can God trust you with trouble? Yeah, some people, you want the blessing of God, you want the riches of God, but can I tell you, the blessing do not come without burdens. You can't want the blessing of God without the burdens of God. I laugh now because people desire stuff, watch this unit, but they don't understand the back of it, back end of it. Somebody say, you got to know the back end, you got to know the back end. I laugh and people say, yeah, Pastor, I'm ready to get married, because that's the blessing part of it. But then the back end part of a charge is actually waking up with that person morning after morning after morning. Yeah, I laugh now when people say, yeah, we planning on having kids. I laugh because it's the blessing, Pastor Bird, when you show the pictures and that little joke and you got the little diaper on and everything cute. And then the first month, everybody bring Pampers. Second month, they act like you don't need Pampers. Nobody show up with Pampers. You just got enough to get you through 90 days. It's because it is a blessing and it's a burden. I love it when somebody say, yeah, Pastor, I feel like God called me to preach. I laugh because I said, you about to be incarcerated to the gospel. I ain't the only one because Paul said, I am a prisoner of Christ. Yeah. Anybody that's been called to do this, actually, it won't be on accident. It's because God make you a prisoner to it. He handcuffed you to the word of God. That's why I laugh when people think it's a game and it's a joke. And Drew put out a play and said, preacher, do this for a hustle. But he was lying on some of us. Some of us hustle. Some of us doing it for real. Because when you do it for real, this thing hurts. When you do it for real, it's a real burden. It's a real pain. It's a real burden when you press. Because when you're doing something genuinely and it's coming from you, God pushing you to do this. I ain't want to do this. Too much other stuff. Can I be honest? I'm jealous of Charles. I wanted to be on the instrument, let my hair grow, come in and out, because don't nobody judge you. You can come in and out, do what you want to do as a musician. Everybody loves you because they can't do what you do. I didn't want no spotlight. I wasn't trying to do this. And let's be honest. I want to be honest because they told me I was in speech my whole life. They said I had a speech impediment. I went back to communicate with normal people. That's why when y'all respond, I realize y'all not normal. Yeah, y'all not normal. Y'all not normal because when you say amen to me or you respond to shout, I realize there's something wrong with you because they told me I won't be able to communicate with normal people. Here it is. I know at Black History Month, I've been on my best behavior, but your president kind of stirred me up a little bit. I ain't going to go there. Here it is. Frederick Douglass said like this: if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Say it one more time for the hearing impaired. If there is no struggle, there is no process. Anything you do where there is no struggle, I want to check it's not real progress. If you and your spouse ain't really arguing, there ain't no progress. If you don't really get into it with the kids, sometimes it really ain't no progress. If you ain't really have no bump in the head on the job or arguing, I don't know if it's real yet. Yeah. I love it when I first meet people and I ask them about their couples and talking about dating. Oh, everything's well. I love it. It's just a bliss. I laugh because I said, you ain't really got nothing yet. It's when you go through the storm of the relationship, I know it's real. I tell people, you ain't really with me until we done been through something. You ain't really a member of this church until you say, man, RG3 done got on my nerves. I don't know who he thinks he ain't. Who is he to talk to me like that? Oh, I don't agree with him. Then you show back up the next Sunday. I say, oh, yeah, she's a real member. Oh, yeah, he's a real member because it's until you go through the storm together, this ain't real. Yeah. After 25 years of being with the same woman, I can say, oh, it's real now because we done been through the ups and downs, been through the hard times. I remember watching them. I asked Lady Anna, I said, when was it that you made up your mind you weren't leaving? I think about 3-5 years into it before you really were sure that you were finna rock this thing in, because anything worth having is worth fighting for. Here it is. Let me help you on this morning. I'm trying to help you get a little biblical background, get somebody on this morning. I told you I've been dealing with the broken blessings. I said first Jesus showed. This is my recap, lady. Don't judge me. She judged me last week and pushed me out here way too early. Here it is. First thing I told you about broken blessings, I said he broke the bread. Watch this. When he had the bread, the first thing he did, he blessed it. He said, took the bread and he gave thanks. I got stuck there, Pastor Bird, because I said when he broke it and gave thanks, Zeno, he gave thanks for something that wasn't enough. And I challenge us. I say, how many of us can give God thanks for something that ain't enough? Looking at the bank account and it's not enough. Looking at the paycheck is not enough. Looking at the relationship and it's not enough. But even though it's not enough and it's not a fact, I want to trust God even when it's not enough, because God's trying to show you that he El Shaddai. That means God more than enough. Why do the God that want to show me that he's more than enough let me go through less or not enough? Because you will never see him until you're weak. He said he's made strong in your weakness. In other words, he take your weakness to show out. Yeah. And it ain't until you go through something that he can show you. How you know God gonna be a healer if you ain't never been sick? How you know God gonna be a provider if you ain't never needed nothing? How you know God gonna be a strong tower until you needed to run high somewhere? So in other words, the challenges in life help us watch this, see God in a different light, because God is the only self-existing God that desires to show yourself to his people. So it's your struggles that give you a new revelation of God. Anybody beside myself, you ever been through something that make you look at God differently? Yeah. See, you ain't lived long enough if you ain't had to look at God differently. Your perspective of God changed because of what you were going through. That's the challenge now when he breaks the bread. But I don't know when he broke the bread, watch the chart. He was getting around so much that he took a brown bag special and turned it into a buffet. How you know? Because they ate so much bird till it was 12 baskets left over. Be messing on my way out of Shreveport. Watch this, I stopped by and talked to my dad, so we was going over sermon. Watch this, Charles. He always gonna go through my sermon, pick it apart. Watch this now, because he is my master teacher. So watch what he said, He said, when you were looking at it, watch this, Dad. You watching this yours right here. I'm taking your point. He said, don't just say it was the 12 baskets that the disciple picked up. Just say and show now. Watch this now. When the little boy gave the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, it was the overflow that God was returning on his behalf. In other words, God took the 5 loaves, the 2 fish, watch this turn into 12 baskets. Because when you put something in the ground, you shall reap. Run and overflow. It said, give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and run and over shall men give unto your bosom. So in other words, when God return your harvest to you, it won't be the seed that you put in. It'll be overflow, and that's only for a handful of people that you know you done put seeds in the ground and you're expecting the overflow. Look at somebody and say, he talking to me, he talking to me. All the seeds I done put in the ground, not just financially, but my kind action, the things I do in spite of, showing up on time, supporting, pushing, and helping in my marriage, in my relationship with my friend. I'm doing harvest any day. Somebody look at your name and say, any day now. Yeah, I'm finna be in the over. I'm finna be in the overflow. So that was last Sunday. I talked about I love leftovers, and I told you it's something about leftovers. When the food sit out, it's settled. You know, Thanksgiving food, the dressing don't hit it till like day 3. Day 3 after it's set for a minute and then set in the icebox. Then you get it out the icebox and you throw it in that microwave, hit it for a quick 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden you whip it. I don't know about you. I don't use the regular thing. I like jelly on mine. So I slapped the jelly on there because it didn't settle a little bit. Don't look at me, like that. I put real jelly on mine. So when I'm eating it, watch this, it's because now I done allowed to settle some, so it goes so leftovers hit because you done allowed it settle. But just like them leftovers, some things in life, it get better when you allow it to just settle. You dealing with stuff when it's still heated. That's why you arguing about it. And that thing settle. You got this. Lady M acting crazy in the car last night. I just had to let it settle. Man, let me pull over to the gas station. She had crazy all the way back 3 hours. You waking up in the mid-sleep accusing me of falling asleep because you sleep and you want to argue. God ain't trying to argue with you. I got to get home. Pull over to the gas station. You about to have to walk back. I told somebody I started leaving in Shreveport. Y'all would have been out there this morning, bird. Where Lady M? She's still in Louisiana, man. Because sometimes you gotta let stuff settle. So on this morning, watch this, Charles. When we begin to look at this, we see professional, watch this, people, they're panicking. They're panicking professional, bird. I saw this text and God help me. I told you that the synoptic gospel, all the gospels talk about this, Matthew, Mark, and Luke are synoptic gospel because they write similar, but then John is called the Johannine gospel because he writes differently, but all 4 of them write about this. So this must mean it's important. But then Mark is the one that brings up the loaves. So here it is. Mark says this. They're panicking on the water. They're panicking on the water. But this is what I want you to know. You got to be alone. They're professional fishermen. This is not nothing new to them. They're used to storms, but it's something about this storm unit that's not normal. Have you ever been through something that this used to be the normal ride and this used to be the normal thing, but this constant situation we've been in lately is something different about this one? We argue, but we argue like this now. We didn't have issues, but we had issues like this. I didn't have financial difficulties, but I ain't had this type of weight on me. I didn't been here before, but it wasn't this type of pressure. And then I wondered, and I had to ask God, man, these last 90 days, you've been playing with your boy. He said, Negro, this how God talked to me. I'm sorry. He must be from the project like me, but he talked to me like this, Charles. He said, you think you going to get through this without a storm? I said, but I'm doing what you told me to do. He said, look at the text, Bird. Look at the text. He tell the disciples to go to the other side. Now watch this now, Zeno. I'm tripping now because Deacon Bird, if Jesus told me to go to the other side, why is there a storm in the middle of it? You said go to the other side. You didn't bring up the storm because Jesus will give you a detail. Watch this. He'll give you a destination and a dream without the detail, Ashton. He'll wake you up, got you writing stuff down and putting together stuff and trying to get a plan together. But he don't tell you the roadblocks. He don't tell you how many no's you got to go through to get to your yes. He want to know, can you trust him in the process? Because if I told you the destination, just trust me enough to get there. Yeah, that's the difficult part. So I had to trust God. I said, what are you trying to do? He said, I'm trying to show you something. Because you've been looking at the text wrong. You've been focusing on Jesus and you've been focusing on Peter on the water, but it's something you missed. I said, what I've been missing? He said, I want you to preach about the storm. Everybody else shouting. They tell you ever heard somebody tell you their testimony, but they don't tell you about the storm part. They just tell you about the shouting part. He said, no, tell them about the storm part. Told me on this morning, a couple of situations you ought to be in on this morning as it relates to a storm. You're either coming out of a storm, you either headed into a storm, or some of you in my presence this morning, you're in a storm right now. So either way, look at your neighbor and say, either way, he's talking to you on this morning, he talking to you. The first thing I realized in the storm, and I'm running here it is later in, the first thing I want you to realize, the storm changed Peter's perception. Yeah. Here it is. I had to see in the text, Matthew 14:20 said this. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they was troubled. Watching now, all 12 of them see him on the sea, but they're troubled about what they see. This was crazy about the proximity, Charles. They close enough to see, but watch this now. Even though they're close enough to see, they don't recognize him because you can be close to him but still don't see him, which let me know that you can be on assignment for God doing the right thing and still end up in a storm. But even in the midst of the storm, watch this, I'm going to help you. He's in there with you. That's enough to make you shout right there. I could have took out running. Watch this, the whole time while the storms are raging, Jesus is in the storm with him. But the problem is, Deacon Bird, they can't see him. They see a figure that's walking on the water. One text said they said it was a ghost. Isn't it amazing that good believers watching now still couldn't recognize Christ, which give me hope because sometimes Pastor all these three miss it. I know y'all Holy Ghost filled speaking tongues, y'all never miss God, but sometimes me, I miss God because I don't see him correctly. Yeah, he's trying to teach me something. He's trying to help me. And because of the pressure of it and because of the weight of it, I get messed up and I had to help somebody watch this now. Don't lie this. You could tweet this. You could post this. I'm sorry. You could X this. You could post this. You could put it on social media or text somebody on this morning that should have been in church with you this morning and preach to them. You're going to help me preach this. Tell somebody, don't allow your predicament to change your perception of Jesus. Yeah, I know it is. Here it is. I'm saying one more time. Don't allow your predicament to change your perception of Jesus. Here it is. You could be in the midst of a situation that'll make you question Jesus in your life. You know how difficult this is, Charles? Now, Pastor Bird, she the real preacher, so she'll help you on this morning. If we was to backpedal or hit him with the juvenile Jamie and I take him and we bag this thing up for a minute and I tell you, watch it now, in chapter 6, or watch this, we're in today, but if we was to bag up to chapter 4, you'll see this ain't the first time that Jesus got them out of a storm. One time they in a storm, Pastor Bird, Jesus is sleeping in the ship and they in a storm, get panicked. They go wake him up. He said, how long do I have to be with y'all? He said, peace be still. So this is not the first storm you done been in with Christ. But see, they in the storm. They don't recognize Christ. They can't acknowledge what's been happening. In other words, Jesus had brought them through storms before. But then they're having a hard time to trust him. So he's trying to put them in the mind of it. How can you let your predicament make you change your perception of me? If I told you to go to the other side, it must mean that I have a plan towards you. Like he told Jeremiah, I know the thoughts and the plans I have towards you, thoughts of peace and not evil, to bring you to a expected end. Meaning Jesus has a destination for me. So just like if he got a destination for Jeremiah, it must mean he have a destination for me. I got to trust him in the process when I can't trace him. That's the difficult part. Yeah, the difficult part is to trust him when I can't trace the next couple of steps that he's trying to do. Because watch this, storms will distort your sight. It would be hard for you to see them. They thought it was a ghost, and they had a hard time because watch this now. Fear made them watch this relabel Jesus as a ghost. Your fear is simply false evidence appearing real. In other words, you're assuming something that's not real. Have you ever been panicking about something that ain't even happened yet? Then people say it's due Friday. It's Sunday. You tripping. I got a good 4 days. We finna go out to eat. I'm finna enjoy. Not just now. I help somebody. I'll tell somebody, you know, if I ain't got it, I ain't got it anyway. You ain't finna take my joint too. You already took my money. If I ain't got it, yeah, let me help y'all with a secret. Like they said, you're going to have to open some of these. Deacon Bird, I said, ain't no point in me opening. Ain't nothing to talk about. I ain't got nothing for them because watch it now. I told somebody this. You're not going to steal my jar with a piece of paper that ain't real. Threatened. I had one person, he said, listen, you ain't going to do nothing until we go to court. I said, sir, you can stop texting me about court. I ain't scared of you or the court. Yeah, don't keep threatening me about something that potentially going to happen. In between that time and now, I don't know what God's going to do. I might not even be here while you talking about suing me. You tripping on the wrong person. And I'm not using that as an excuse not to pay your bill. Pay your bill, get your credit score together. But I'm saying, you ain't finna stress me about something. Yeah. Won't be the first repossession I'd have had. Won't be the first picture note I'd have had. You better check my resume, check my jacket. I've been catching buses. Cars is something new. I told somebody I ain't have ACs in car when my mom and them first got cars. It was lucky to have something that had a motor and you. And some of you done got beside yourself because you got a nice little job and they got your 401k and you got more than one pair of shoes. But I need you to remind yourself, what about the lows when you were wearing your sister's shoes? And then your mama that was doing your hair and had the edges messed up and your parents stayed on too long and burn your roof. It's because you didn't forget where you came from because somebody know how to do your braids now. Well, child, I don't do my hair like that now. Get your booze yourself back to where you came from. You know you used to whip them ramen noodles. Now you can eat that Olive Garden. Now you don't eat ramen noodles no more, Charles. You know, I don't, come on now. It's because sometimes we forget where you come from. So you got to get back to where it is. Don't distort your vision here. Don't help somebody. Watch this now. But Peter not only his vision, watch this now, changes his perception with the rest of them. But watch this, Peter hears something because Jesus tells him, don't be disturbed, don't be upset. It's me. Watch it now. And so Jesus said, another translation, watch this, Mother Judah, Jesus said, I am that I am to him. So when you look at the text, he said, don't trip in the storm. You know who just showed up. And I want to help somebody on this morning. You're in the midst of a storm right now. You're in the midst of a crisis. But I tell people all the time, in the midst of a crisis, is a good time to see Christ. Yeah, don't let your crisis distort you on Christ that's in the midst of your crisis. And I tell everybody this, let me whip James with this. I want to tell you on this morning that watch this, chaos is confirmation of God's call on your life. If you got a chaotic situation, it's confirmation that God is trying to work that and use that in your life on purpose. So number 2, watch this with Peter. The storm clarifies his purpose. Matthew 14 says this, Lord, if it's you, command me to come. And I come to you on the water. Here it is. Peter made a conscious decision. It's better, watch this now, to be with Jesus in the middle of the storm than be with these disciples on the ship in the middle of the storm. So in other words, what he decided, it's better to be in a risky relationship with Jesus than in the comfort zone with some doubters. And see, some of you got to make that decision on this morning. Are you willing to take a risk with Christ on this morning? Or are you willing to stay in your comfort zone where you at and everybody else doubting what's around you? Because watching now, Peter is not the only one that's in the ship. It's 11 other jokers that's in the ship. Can you imagine now? Then use your Holy Ghost imagination. This is what I see. I see the disciples watch this bird. They see something walking, and I can see them now. One of them say, hey, Drew, you know Andrew. He said, hey, Drew, you see what I see? And then you know that's Thomas talking, but you know Thomas, he a doubter, so if he a doubter, you know most of the time he probably lies, you know, so the disciple probably say, you know, Thomas, he playing games again. He probably ain't telling the truth, and hear P in the back. Peter say, hey, what's going on? What's going on up there? And I can hear now Bartholomew say, man, they say something moving out there. You know, Peter got the strap, so Peter grabbed it, and Peter said, hey, just like Peter was ready to cut off the ear, Peter's ready to put up whatever it needs. Peter ready to buck up and put up. Watch this now. Peter comes and say, hey, what's going on? Jesus say, chill, fear not, this is me. Peter said like a real person from the hood, if that's really you, let your boy come. Because anybody know when you really got somebody close to you, it ain't nothing like riding shotgun with somebody you trust and depend on. Peter said, say, my boy, if that's really you, let your boy walk with you. Yeah. That means you got a close enough relationship with him that if that's really you on the water, let me get a taste of it. Here it is. My dad was saying like this. He told Peter to come. Watch this now. Charles, the bishop said like this. Peter never actually walked on the water. He walked on the word come. When Jesus said come, it literally built the bridge for Peter to walk on, because he said when you apply the word in a chaotic situation, you don't walk on the situation, you walk on the word through the situation. It's because now he had to trust him in the process. Here it is. Peter had a clarified moment with him to walk in purpose because he was challenging himself to get out of his comfort zone. But it takes courage, Ashley. It takes courage to do what other people won't do. It takes courage. Can you imagine Peter climbing out the boat? Use your imagination with me. It's 11 other people. Man, you crazy. How do you know that's Jesus? He say he's Jesus, but how you know? Because we can't see him clearly. Yeah, how you know that God gave you the vision, Ashley? How you know that God's telling you to do this? They gonna question you left and right, bird. Are you sure that's him? People that's close to you, same people that broke bread with you. These ain't strangers that spectating your ideas and spectate. Girl, how you gonna do that if you're a single mom? Boy, how you gonna do that? And you know you broke, you know the last business you did, you had to close. You know the last ministry that you was a part of, you couldn't be faithful. It's challenges all around you. But it takes Peter to zone out. Because when you really trust in God, sometimes you got to have a ton of vision. Not only do you got to deal with the environment and your surroundings that cause you to doubt, but you got to deal with your own mind. Can you imagine Peter getting out? See, we read about the story, but it ain't logical to walk on water. You got to be so psyched out on what God tells you to do that you're ignoring rules and regulations, because it don't make sense. Gravity say you can't walk on water, but when God say come, you got to try something that ain't never been done before, and you got to trust him in spite of. And that's what Peter did. He had to get out of his comfort zone to trust God, to walk and operate on faith. I found this out. Anytime you seek Jesus, it's going to cause separation with others. I'm going to help somebody on this morning. The more you want him, the more it's going to pull you away from the other 11. It's going to pull you away from spectators. It's going to pull you away from everybody. But watch this now. What I realized is, the first thing before he stepped up the boat, Zeno, and I'm moving with this, it wasn't him changing physically. It was him changing mentally. He had to mentally make a decision in his mind. That's Jesus telling me to come. And then his body follow after his mind. I want to tell some of you the reason why you're hanging up on this morning, the reason why you're stagnating, you have not moved, and you have not transitioned. It ain't because you can't do it. It's because in your mind. You know, you said it this morning. If you don't mind, it don't matter. Yeah, something we say in the military. When you get to the point that you don't mind, it don't matter. Yeah. Once you get to the point that you're so psyched out that you don't care what you're experiencing, what you're going through, it's something that trigger on the inside of you that say, I'm not settling for nothing else. Anybody ever just been fed up? Then you don't care what the situation look like? I'm so far gone, ain't nothing you going to do to change it. This is how I tell somebody, when you know you really done with a situation, it's nothing else that they can do that can make it change your mind. Remember when I got ready, watch this, Zeno, I left Shreveport Police Department. I've been asking to change the night shift. They keep playing me change the Bible study. I walked up there to the chief office. I just put a letter on there and watched it, Charles. I wanted to be messy, but the Holy Spirit wouldn't let me be messy. He just sometimes restrained you. So I just wrote on a letter, thank you for 7 years. So watch it now. I said, thank you for 7 years because I'm done. I began to go downstairs, and all of a sudden, lieutenants and stuff, hey, they're going to go and give you the shift you want. You ain't got to leave. Thank you, sir. Please step back. I'm scared of police. Let me out of here. I'm gone. Watch this now. Because When you done made up your mind about a situation, just because the situation try to turn and maneuver, no, I'm done with this phase of my life. I don't know. Watch this now. I don't have another job. I have another opinion. I just know I won't be here no more. So in this situation, my mind has literally shifted and made up. My body gonna have to catch up with the rest of it because I'm gone. And see, that's how you got to be somewhere in your spirit where you done shifted and made up your mind. Your year 2026 won't be like 25. Now my body and the rest of my life gonna have to catch up with it, but my mind already gone. I'm already successful. I'm already an entrepreneur. I'm already blessed, highly favored, walking in good success. It's because my mind already there. I know that what the ATM say, but I ain't listening to the ATM. I'm listening to what the voice of heaven told me on side of me. It's just a matter of time. And when you start acting like that, you start walking on water. What is water? Water is something that should be on top of you, but you're on top of it. It means you didn't got to the point that what should hold you down ain't holding you down no more. What should distract you ain't distracting you no more. What should hinder you ain't hindering you no more. Here it is. Lastly but not least, and I'm going with this. Here it is. The storm changed Peter's perception. The storm clarified, gave him clarity. 3D, watch this. Of Peter's purpose. But watch this. Lastly but not least, the storm tested Peter's posture. Peter began to step out on water. He doing something he never done. Yeah, y'all done heard this before if you're in the church like I have long now. He's focused on Jesus. Watch this now. This was crazy. Help me with this. Y'all smarter than me. It says while he's stepping towards Jesus, like a big stepper, he says that he see the wind. And then Peter began to sink because he see the wind. Now mind you, bird, I'm walking on water. Why am I letting wind distract me? Now, if I'm defying the odds by walking on water, you think I'm going to let something as simple as wind distract me? Matter of fact, how do you see the wind? Help me on this morning. It means he began to look at something that changed his eyes off Christ. And can I be messy on this morning and tell some of you the reason why you're drowning or find yourself in a situation where you're drowning? You done took your eyes off the prize like an old preacher would tell you. You got to get back focused on him and tunnel vision. I tell people, once you start focusing on Christ, everything else will start lining up. And I'm a willing witness. I ain't going to lie to you on this morning. I'm telling you, in 2025, my wife will tell you, we building, we doing ministry, we were doing all kinds of stuff, trying to get stuff out the ground, do this. We were getting denied. We weren't getting approved for nothing. Ain't nothing changed. The charge then all of a sudden started talking about ministry. Watch this, bird. I talked to God, had a real conversation like, man, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do this. Watch this charge. Soon as we step out, Deacon Bird, start doing what God told us to do. The house came together. The finance came together. Watch this, bird. I'm thinking I got to change job. I ain't got to change job. They literally doubled my salary at the VA. I'm saying this crazy. Same job, same position. What they say, the government is shifted. They going to give y'all a raise. Now, here it is. I've been putting in applications, looking for different jobs. Thinking I'm finna leave. Finna do that. And I said, God, what happened? He said, in the midst of the storm, you start worrying about the storms and the water raising, and you start focusing on me. Once you start focusing on me, I got the job together. Once you start focusing on me, the girl got the house we wanted. Once you start focusing on me and what for you, I'm telling you on this morning, if he could do that for me in 2025, I'm not talking about a long time. I'm talking about in a matter of 90 days, you went from being what is not approved for a rent house, but to build a house. You know that's God. That don't make sense. It don't add up. That's walking on water. That's something that don't make no sense at all. Only thing changed was our purpose. And I'm telling you that, not just to have a good sermon. I'm giving it to you like a testimony, because a testimony just comes from a test that you've been through, that now you walk around with a trophy and say it's success because of what we've been through. And I'm telling you the same thing. Once you change your focus, you're making your problem bigger than your God when it should be in reverse. You got to make your God bigger than your problems. Look at somebody next to you and say, you do know I serve a big God, right? I serve a big God. Here it is, Charles. I might need your help on this morning. Here it is. I saw this in the text. It says that Peter began to sink. Very difficult because they make fun of him. And you hear them talk about Peter all the time. And if you've been in church any time, they make fun of the fact that Peter sunk. This what got me, Charles. Neroes act like there's other people in the Bible that walked on water. He the only person that ever walked. So Bird, even if he do sink and he drown and die right there, at least I did something that ain't nobody else did before. Yeah. I told somebody, even if I died trying to chase purpose, at least I did something that nobody else did before. And people love to label you with your failures. They love to judge you by what you went through and because it was successful. And what they don't understand, you trust God in the midst of the process. And watch this, Peter had enough sense when he started drowning. He didn't call for his mama and him. No. He didn't go to help and go down here Rhodex and said, call his favorite friend, call his partner. He called and asked Jesus for help. This is what I'm glad about. This is what I'm glad about Charles, to show something that's in the text, that he was close enough to him, bird, to be touched by God. Even though he didn't make it all the way across, in the midst of him challenging and walking his purpose, he was still close enough to be reached by God. And I just came all the way from Louisiana, y'all, in the middle of the night just to tell y'all on this morning from I-20 that you're close enough to be reached by God. I don't know how difficult your situation is. I don't know what you have to deal with when you leave this place on this morning, but I'm telling you, you better have some of your spirit that know how to call out to God when you're in the midst of trouble. I don't care if you have to go in the restroom by yourself, or you go in the closet at the house, or you have to leave the house and go sit in your car for a minute, wipe the tears from your eyes, and you begin to talk to God and tell him what you're going through. God is not a God that is not touched by your infirmities. He is a God that's touched by the things you're going through. I'm talking about every little detail. He want to be a part of your life. It was a story told, so get your milk and cookies. It's story time on this morning. Story told about a little girl, her first time driving. She got a driver permit, watched this accident, and she's driving with her dad, and they headed down I-20. All of a sudden, Zeno, in the midst of driving, she just got a permit, got a driving permit. She know about the signs, and she know about a turn signal. She getting comfortable. First time really driving on the interstate. Daddy telling her to drive, and all of a sudden, in the middle of driving, watch this lady, a storm pop up. And a storm arose, and the daddy said, don't forget to put on your windshield wipers. And he's sitting in the passenger seat, and she getting nervous, and she got her hand on the 10 and the 12, driving just like Lady M with the steering wheel on her chin all the way to her chest. And she's riding and driving because she's trying to see clearly, because in the midst of the storm, it was distorting her view while she was driving. She asked her father, should she pull over Bird? She said, Daddy, should I just pull over and wait till the storm is over? The daddy told her to keep driving. Don't pull over in the storm. Just keep driving in spite of the storm. Here it is. She kept driving, Jamie. Watch this, 2 minutes past. She was still in the storm. She kept driving. 10 minutes past. She was still in the storm, Zito. 15 minutes past. She was still in the storm. All of a sudden, she started to see her way clear. Now it's clear. The daddy said, pull over for a minute. She said, when I pull over for, I ain't in my destination. He said, I want to show you something. They stepped outside the car, watched this Charles. The daddy took her to the rear of the vehicle. He said, now look behind you. What do you see? She said, I see the storm. And she said, since you see the storm, what did you learn from this lesson? She learned from her dad. She said, I learned that you just got to keep driving in spite of. Because if you keep driving, you'll get to the other end of the storm. And I come to tell somebody on this morning, you got to keep driving so you can get to the end of the storm. I know the marriage rocket right now. Keep driving. I know you're frustrated right now, but you got to keep driving. Bank account's a little low right now, but you got to keep driving. They lying on you, but you got to keep driving. You got yourself sometimes, but you got to keep driving. You get frustrated, but you got to keep driving. The president tripping online, but you got to keep driving. I know it's Black History Month, but you got to keep driving. All I come to tell you is to keep driving, because God can, and God will, and God shall do everything that He promised to you. But you got to trust Him in spite of. Trust Him in the process. Won't He do it? I said, won't He do it? Won't He do it? Look at your neighbor and say, won't He do it? Won't He do it? Ain't the Lord all right? Look at the neighbor and say, ain't the Lord all right? I know He's all right. Look at the neighbor and say, ain't the Lord all right? I said, look at your neighbor and say, ain't the Lord all right? I know the Lord's all right. Ain't the Lord all right? Look at the neighbor and say, ain't the Lord all right? He's all right on this morning. What church is with you on this morning? Please stand all over the building real quick. You're in the storm. I want to talk to people that's in the storm. I told you on this morning. See the three things. Either you on your way in the storm, you're on your way out of the storm, or you in one right now. The second zipper in that bag is where the oil is. You don't mind getting it from the other side of the church. This is what the devil do. The devil will cause so much frustration to make you forfeit what God tell you in the midst of the storm. Because what he wants you to do, he wants your vision to be so distorted so you won't trust the process. Because what he was trying to do to the 12, God told him to go to the other side, Lady Z. Lady Z know if he told me to go to the other side, what was going on, the storm was trying to make them forfeit what God told them to do. Because if he can cause enough chaos and enough confusion, watch it actually, this is how we play with our mind. Now, you were standing there when he told you to go to the other side, you'll start saying stuff like this. But did he want me to go this way? Is this the direction he told me? Should I go to the other side? Maybe the other side ain't for me. But that's what the storm will cause. The storm will make you forfeit and question what God told you to do. And start buckling down and trusting him through the process. That's what I want to do. I want to pray for you. If that word means something to you, I want you to make your way to the altar. I just want to pray with you. I want to trust him in the process. I don't believe he allowed you to come for no reason. I believe he allowed you to come on purpose.